Yeah, I did my face reveal. I mean, I guess you can't tell now, but I did my face reveal in October of last year. The whole time, obviously, the mask has been a massive part of like everything I've done. And I never actually planned to not show my face. Like I just started as a faceless creator because of the fact that I never really showed my face online. I don't know, there's probably a ton of reasons for that, but I just never really had. And I didn't have social media, actually. I didn't have a Twitter. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have Instagram. I had like nothing before I started YouTube. And so I just happened to not really have many pictures of me on any of my, or no pictures of me on any of my stuff. And then fans took that and were like, oh my God, he's like faceless. And they started drawing fan art of me in a mask. And then I got sent a mask to my PO box. And I was like, that's so sick. So it really was like made by the fans, I guess. And I never wanted to lose that because to me, the mask became the meaning behind like anyone can be Dream. Like anyone can succeed and can do anything they want. And because of the fact that no one knew what I looked like or kind of like who I was. And that was something that I was like, you could look up to that kind of like, I saw a quote from Stan Lee about Spider-Man a long time ago that was very similar. I don't want to compare myself to a superhero. Oh, I'm superhero Dream, but like it was inspiring in that he said like he wanted Spider-Man covered from head to toe. Because he wanted anyone, you know, no matter their race or religion or wherever they're from, to be able to be like, I could be Spider-Man. And so I kind of related to that, and that I think that I do so much different stuff, but I guess in my mind, it's kind of under it all kind of has one central theme, and that I love to entertain people. Obviously my biggest thing was through storytelling. I love storytelling. I grew up wanting to be an author. I wrote 2 75,000 word novels when I was like 16. And that was my dream job. I was like, I'm gonna be an author. Obviously there was a long period of my life as well, even throughout that time where I was like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I posted tons of YouTube videos, but everyone wanted to be a YouTuber. Not necessarily everyone wanted to be an author. And so I like to say that was kind of
what were those books about? They
were young adult, like dystopian books. So it was very much like, I read a lot of like young adult dystopian, so like Hunger Games and stuff like Divergent and Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Alex Rider, Max. There's so many that I read when I was a kid. I used to read 100 books a year from when I was like 14 to 18, and there was a couple of years there where I read almost a book every other day. And that was like my passion. I was tanking in my school because I would just be in math class reading or writing in my journals or whatever. But so I guess the best way to describe what I do in terms of like, if I'm trying to be accurate and not just talk about necessarily the meaning behind it, is just I try and entertain people, make people happy. And I do that, through many different ways. One of them is obviously, Minecraft videos. I've played Minecraft since I was a kid and it makes me happy. So I try and share those moments. The people that are in my videos on YouTube, I've known since I was 10 and 11 and 12. And we were friends long before we did YouTube and just decided to do YouTube together. We all had no subscribers when we started together, and now we all have a lot. So we really did just capture those moments and put them out there, while also applying strategy and marketing and these things to make sure that most people can see it. And in my mind, I've always had that vision of like, I want to have the biggest impact I can on the world, like while I'm here. And so I think that marketing and strategy and all those things are just the vessel to do that with my content. And so it's not forming the content around the marketing, it's forming the marketing around the content. I feel like I was a book nerd for sure. I was not I hated school. I despised school. I was like, what's the point of school? I don't even want to do any of the stuff I'm learning. You're teaching me all this stuff about stuff that I don't care about. I want to do my own thing. And so in high school, I mean, I was only in physical high school for less than a year. And then I actually was in this big battle with my parents over like, I want to go into online school. These electives that they have at this school, I want to go into technology, and they have no like tech electives. And so I went in this big battle to where eventually I don't recommend it. And I look back and go, man, I did some stupid stuff when I was a kid, but I was like, all right, you guys aren't putting me in online school. I'm not going to school then. And I just stopped going to school. I actually got arrested for truancy for not going to school.
What is truancy?
Truancy is you don't go to school for an extended period of time, and then it's illegal because if you're a kid, you're under 16.
No way.
You get arrested for not going to school?
You can.
Whoa.
And then I got charged with resisting arrest because the cop came to the back door and was like, you need to go to school. And I was like, the door's locked. You're not coming in. Like, not that, but like essentially, wow. Like, I'm not opening the door.
So did the school call the cops, or did your parents call
my parents did.
Called the cops.
My parents did. And
Interesting.
They've talked so many times since then. It's so I've never told this story, which is so interesting, but they've said so many times since then, like, we regret calling the cops, not because it was not the right thing to do, because the cops, like, you're charging like 16 or 15, I was 15, a 15-year-old kid with like resisting arrest for not opening a door to you. Like, that could have, obviously, because of the fact I was so young and because I was able to just be like, take guidance from my parents and stuff. It was expunged and nothing ever came of it. But like that could have ruined my life. That could have affected me not getting jobs and all this stuff. I have many friends. I didn't have many friends. And I think that's one of the reasons as well I was able to keep my face reveal like private for so long is because I had two really close friends when I was growing up. They were my two next door neighbors. And then we moved and I hardly saw them ever again, even though I'm still friends with them to this day. But I had like those two guys. And then I had, when we moved to another neighborhood, I had one guy there that he ended up moving away at some point. But almost all my friends that I have now in my life are online friends and people that I met online. But in terms of real life, I had my next door neighbors when I was like in middle school, and then in high school, I really isolated myself. I went through like a massive depression when I was like 15, and it was very much self-caused by me isolating myself and not, feeling like I just felt like I couldn't. I really wanted to be an author. I really wanted to go into tech, and I felt like neither of those were going to happen, and so it made me really, really upset.
Sad. Yeah,
and so I was in this battle where I was like suicidal. And I was like telling my parents, like, if I can't do this, like, but I want to die. I don't want to go work a normal job, whatever. I want to do what I want to do. Parents. And I was like, I'm going to do YouTube. So I'm going to quit my job. And I had not posted a single YouTube video. I was like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do YouTube. My parents were like, no, you don't do that. What,
call the cops. Job? Get the cops back here. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're like, eventually they're like, okay, but if you do, you run out of money, you're not coming back with us. Just so you know, you're not going to. Now, realistically, they would have taken me back. They would have. Yeah. But I didn't think that at the time, of course. And I was like, oh God, this is all or nothing. And so I came up with I was like, I need a plan. If this is going to be my job, I need to treat it like a job. I need to actually have a strategy. I need to have a plan. I need to know what I'm doing. And so I quit my job, and then I was doing for like 6 months because I quit in January, and then there was 6 months until I uploaded my first video, which was in June or July of 2019. And so I quit my job in January, and I was like, okay, I'm coming with a plan. And while I was doing that, I was doing like little side Minecraft projects for coding. I actually worked for some other like YouTubers that were, I did videos for on their channel where I coded stuff for them, which ended up playing a big part into, I learned some stuff during that period while also just literally studying. I used to say I've read tons of information about it, like hundreds of books worth. Everyone's like, what books? I'm like, well, not actually books. I read I would watch YouTube videos. I would look at what's working from people, and I would just really just overanalyze everything. Like I would listen to the intro 100 times. Like, what makes this intro better than something? What makes Mr. Beast's intro better than everyone else? I'm going to go through it. I'll notice things in descriptions and be like, he's doing something interesting. He doesn't like, as an example, this is an example I'm free to give out. I was like, oh, like Mr. Beast, like I don't know if he does it now, but at the time he didn't link anything in the description. When he put his social media, he'd put like social media and then at whatever, and didn't have a link. And I was like, that's interesting. Why does he do that? Is there a reason why it'd be good? And so I was like analyzing, and I was like, oh, well, maybe, I don't even know if this is true, but I was like, maybe if you make it not a link, then people are less likely to like during the video click off and like mess with the retention. Cause like they click the link and then they leave the video and they come back and you just have 2 views that for like the less retention. And so there was probably 1,000 different things like that I found, like little tiny small things that really add up, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. Some of them are probably a little superstitious, and then it's like, oh, like, does it really make that big of a difference? Like, at the end of the day, you have to make good content. Yeah. And that's something I learned as well. I was like, well, at the end of the day, I have to actually make high quality, good content. But if I follow all these tricks and tips, then I can. That's actually a really good question. I think that obviously my first paycheck I ever got obviously was right before my rent. But I don't remember a moment where it was like, I think it went from 0 to 100 so quickly that I never had that moment where it was like, oh my God, I'm rich. Like that. There was never that. It was just kind of like, this is working. And then it was this constant fear of losing. It was this constant fear of, I had made this month, but like this could be gone. So I need to grind my ass off to make sure that it's not this next month that it's gone. And so I never really had that moment, I guess. And my operations always kind of been, it still is. It's definitely grown a lot more now. But like I still have edited every video that's ever been posted on my channel myself. Oh, wow. And I plan on doing that on my main channel at least for the foreseeable future. I've started branching out into, we should get an editor for my second channel, an editor for shorts and stuff like that. Because I definitely don't have the time anymore to do stuff like that. But like I coded the plugins for the longest time on my channel. Me and George, we coded stuff until we hired a friend of ours that's a developer that we coded with and coded stuff with. And so the stuff we really needed was like thumbnails to be made. We Photoshopped. Me and George would sit there and Photoshop them together. The editing I did. And then the video concepts we came up with, and then the code to make them work, we coded. And so it was like the operation was really just like us spending every single day just grinding and doing it. I think that the fact that like we did that, it made it more unique to us and made it so we had an advantage over other YouTubers. And that like, we wanted to do something in Minecraft. We didn't have to, go reach out to somebody and pay and do all this stuff. We were just like, let's just do it. Let's code it. Let's make it happen. And so I feel like I weirdly haven't had it be, I remember the first time I ever, so there's a couple things. One, the first time I ever started interacting with people in real life, it definitely changed my perspective on the number 30 million or the number whatever.
Of course.
Where I was like, okay, yeah. That's crazy. And even just being able to be like, oh, I'm in like some random area in Alabama on a road trip or something. I'm walking into a 7-Eleven and there's some, older guy being like, wait, are you Dream? It's like, it's pretty sick. I mean, I can see through it pretty well, except for in a couple places. I actually can't see through the mouth or the eyes. So this cup was kind of like right there on the bottom. I'm looking forward and I don't see the cup.
Can I try it on?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
It's actually a laser like fit to my head and my skull.
Oh yeah, you have a big head.
I have a big head. I have a very big
I got a really
head,
small head.
Wow. There's 2 dreams.
There's another one, right?
Oh yeah,
there is another mask.
You want to put it on?
You want to put it on?
I'm interested. Yeah, of course. Where is it?
It's right behind us. Over there in that back. This is much more comfortable and easier to see than I anticipated.
And I would imagine it's even more comfortable for me because it is fitted to my skull.
Yeah.
And so like the pads go right up against my face and it's right, everything fits really perfectly.
There's something to it too that you almost feel like a sense of safety in it. I don't know if you feel that way, but right now I feel like.
No, I agree. I think it is really cool. Like one thing that I've noticed is like, this is kind of funny, but also kind of bad. Like, there you go, 3 dreams. Yeah. 3 dreams in the podcast.
Yeah.
This is like, I'm doing a podcast with myself now.
Yeah.
You can like look anywhere. So if you like, you're looking, it looks like you're looking at me. You can like look, I'm looking at the monitor right now, like way over there. Even though I'm not even looking.
I'm looking at the monitor too.
So I've noticed that in public sometimes, like if I see somebody and I'm like, usually if I glance, I'm like, what is that guy wearing? I might like look like, oh God, I don't want to stare.
Yeah.
I can just like stare and be like, what is that guy wearing? Whatever.
Wow.
It's part of your superpower.
It feels like you can see more of the world. Like you see the world and the world doesn't necessarily isn't able to like see
which
you
is so
in a
cool
way.
how that even works.
Yeah.
I don't even understand it. That's why I was saying with the whole science thing. How does that work? How can I see and you
definitely can't tell how close I am to the mic right now.
Yeah,
there's some blind spots. I see it. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
there's definitely like kind of middle here it can get. And also it depends on like the lighting. Some lighting's better and worse and it also depends on like if I'm sweating a lot or something, like it'll like clog up the pores in it, and so it makes it even like harder to see.
Yeah.
I'm having like a lot of stuff like
it's still
not even done. Like I'm having a lot of like attachments made for it. Obviously, like I already had like I didn't bring it, but I have a straw attachment.
Yeah.
That like attaches on.
That's funny.
I can drink. I want like an umbrella one, a mic one, and a bunch of other stuff. And also like even with the hood, it's like these are magnets, and so it's magnetized to it, so I can like shake my head and not have the hood like come off. Which is.
Wow.